Hey guys, and I figured out how to start my video without having to press the button. I wonder if it'll help me stop it. You'll see me briefly wave at you guys, and if it stops suddenly, then we'll know it worked. So, um, you may or may not hear Omegon Lowly in the background. He's with his friend Dave and his dad, and they're uh, testing, tasting, taste testing, some whiskeys and such. So I'm letting that go on in the background. Well, I kind of from the day it was another gym day. I realized that I wore this shirt earlier this week as I was deleting my videos from this week. Um, but I washed things, so this is clean. I washed things last night, in fact. So it was just some of the first stuff I grabbed to get on to head out. So I will post at least those results that I do have on my thing, my community tab. I can talk. But I was able to do everything again today. Still did the increase with the dumbbell weights. It's definitely feeling challenging, but not struggling. So definitely going to keep this that way for at least a couple weeks and see how that feels. I had the one press that I do frontwards and backwards. I had that at 25, and that felt a little bit almost too easy today. So I might go to 40 like all together. Starting next week. I might give it one more week just to see how I feel about it, or at least one more day, Monday, because 40 is a bit of a jump, and unfortunately I don't think I can adjust it in a lower increment. So I definitely want to make sure I'm ready for it. Maybe instead of doing 2 sets of 30, I'll do 2 sets of 20, and then it won't be so bad. Because that's what I've been doing. I increased each set by 10. So, did 30 and 30. Oops, just dropped my drink. And I did the one with the yellow buttons. I did the ones on the rope, like the thin string, metal, whatever, cord. So I got all my arm exercises in. I did the recumbent bike and the recumbent stepper, 2.5 miles each for 5 miles total. I did increase the bike difficulty by 1. I'm not increasing the stepper yet because of the nerve damage. It's not feeling any easier for me on the stepper at a 4 difficulty. So I think that's just because of the nerve damage. So I might not increase the difficulty at any point there. I might increase distance, but the bike isn't engaging that area of my leg the same way, because I've noticed with the bike more of the activities going on in the calves, especially because I'm using more of the fronts of my feet to push, where the stepper is more just the whole foot, so it's going up the. I'm using my arm for illustration, but it basically is going up the entirety of the leg. So that's why I do both the stepper and the bike for the record, because I can feel it working different areas of my legs. I have two. As you can also tell, maybe I'm feeling pretty good today. Um, it took me a little bit to wake up. My sleep was a little bit broken, but that's because I ended up going to bed early. Like a couple hours in, then I was up. I took my my morning meds. Because it's midnight, so technically morning. So I call them my morning meds. Um, so I took those, and then I did my laundry. Um, and then I went back to sleep at around 5, and then I got up at 10:45 this morning. So it just took me a little bit to really get my eyes open. But thankfully, at the end of the day, I was able to do so. I did, like the dumbbells, like I said, I increased the weight. So these are 8 pounds. This is 10 pounds. Was able to do my stretches. The app that the A&D company has for their Medicaid cabs, or just cabs in general, I was able to use it again. I actually use it now for the first time to get my cab back, which was great. Because I didn't have to call someone and deal with them, and it showed me when they were inbound, so I could just go outside when they were close enough. And I didn't have to wonder when they were showing up, or if they had assigned anyone to me, or anything like that. So it was definitely good, because that also means that I can also call it sooner, like when I'm done doing my the dumbbell weights, and then I'm going into the stretches. That's probably the time I could call the cab, and then by the time I'm done with the stretches, I grab my bag out of the locker. The cab should be arriving shortly, and then away I go. And then I'm managing my time just a little bit better. One of the other pictures I'm going to put up on the community tab, it's possibly a bit neurodivergent of me, but I just wanted to show people like my lock, but also the locker that I keep picking, because I've noticed that, well, I looked for it specifically the first day I was able to use a locker, and I keep going to it every day, but I basically picked locker 97 to be my locker, and that's the year that Tom and I met. So I took a picture of it the other day. I forgot to share that with people. I decided to do it again today. It might be a little too gushy or nerdy. I don't know. But it's just, it's definitely not meant to be like an sad thing, but just an awe thing, because it's just who I am. But yeah, I when I check in using their app to scan the barcode, I go into the women's locker room. I know the different ways, because depending on if people are changing, stuff like that, I don't want to kind of bump into people or otherwise be in their way. So there's different ways to get to that corner, because it's almost in the corner, and it's up. So think of it, I'm not bending down in order to have to put stuff in it. And I put my bag and my keys, and then I just, put the lock on, to shift the numbers around, because it has the 4 digits. and then I go about things. But I kind of like having like a little nerdy article to kind of go through with you guys. So before I started my video, um, I was trying to think of something to share with people, and then it hit me. So I found an article from Psychology Today called "The Curious Appeal of Terrible People. 3 reasons that explain my strange addiction to bridezillas." Now, personally, I don't, but um, as many of you know, I kind of watch people like Amber and Chantal, aka Foodie Booty, uh, aka Foodie Beauty, and other LoLCows. And, I talk about how seeing them, like watching Shaun of Steel, watch 600-Pound Life episodes, it's kind of like an inspiration. Like, I don't want to end up like that, so I'm doing my, I'm doing my thing to lose the weight and be healthier, so I'm never like them. And so, yeah, I just figured that maybe we'd go into this. There was a time where I just used to watch things like Jerry Springer, Sally Jesse Raphael, Geraldo before he went on the wrong side of politics, Ricky Lake. Eventually Steve Wilkos had his own show, but he used to be on Jerry, the trash TV. And people would ask me, why, Dessa, why? And, my response didn't change over the years. And it was just, well, I can watch those shows and look at those people, whether or not it's scripted, and go, you know what? My life isn't that bad. And it helped kind of put things in a perspective for me that made my glass more than half full, So that's, I'm hoping that that's kind of at least a nugget in here, because I wanted to share that with people, like why personally I kind of do, because I know sometimes when I'm actually commenting on Amber videos and stuff that I'm watching, I know I sound angry, but it's cathartic, I guess. Because it's not like I really hold on to it. She doesn't, especially Amber, I'm gonna say, she doesn't invade my thoughts 24/7. It's just, I watch that stuff. It makes me angry. I comment on it. I hate her in that moment, and I let it go. So, this will be linked down below, by the way, and this was apparently written by Jen Kim, Valley Girl with a Brain. That's her flavor text. And this was written in June 24th, it was posted June 24th, 2019. Sorry, my throat's like a little dry, even though I'm drinking. Over the last year, I have been unequivocally and unhealthily obsessed with terrible reality wedding shows. You've named it, or you name it, I've watched it, probably multiple times. The worse it is, the higher my dopamine levels spike, which obviously means nothing gets my brain happy juices flowing like bridezillas. Perhaps due to its clever portmanteau, The bridezilla concept doesn't leave much to the viewer's imagination. If you're picturing rude, obnoxious women eviscerating and emotionally and or physically abusing their close friends, family members, and future spouses, all in the name of creating their perfect day, then you've already figured out the gist of the show. Honestly, I can't watch stuff like that. The Housewives, the Kardashians, I can't stand that shit. It feels, well, it's too out of touch for me, I guess. Therefore, it just doesn't tickle me. It doesn't kindle joy. Is that what that organizer says? It's pure, unadulterated, all caps drama. The worst kind, in fact. In the past, I've written about the soapy, dramatic appeal of The Bachelor and its offshoots. In effect, our addiction to drama stems from our biological inclination to seek pleasure. We get a fix of dopamine and adrenaline every time someone accepts a rose or, angrily smashes a wedding cake on the floor for absolutely no reason. Those things are fucking expensive. Don't do that. Evolutionary theory researchers also find that humans have always required and benefited from dramatic stories to help build empathy and stimulate our minds. We like drama, sure, but Bridezillas is different from your run-of-the-mill dating reality show. Bridezillas are the worst. Not only are they aware of this moniker, but they also embrace it. There had to be another psychological explanation as to why I was so drawn to watching horrible people doing horrible things to their innocent loved ones, right? In 2012, Wired magazine tackled a version of this question in a piece called "Why Do Supervillains Fascinate Us? A Psychological Perspective." I might have to read that later. It's hyperlinked in this, so if you're curious, you'll be able to read it too. Even if you believe bridezillas are real women and not fledgling actresses playing up their roles for ratings and fame, you have to admit that their television personas exhibit a stark resemblance to those of humanity's greatest bad guys. Think Hannibal Lecter and the Joker, for example. I wish people would stop, the Joker. Because when most people are talking about it anymore, it's either, Jared Leto's or that artsy-fartsy one that I will not acknowledge because it is not anything like it. Nothing like it. He's not. No. Sorry. Nerd moment. The entire article is worth a read, but below I've touched on a couple of key takeaways that attempt to explain the appeal of terrible people. It enables us to confront our shadow selves. Psychiatrist Carl Jung believed the shadow and ego together build and shape our identities, whereas the ego represents the conscious mind, i.e. memories, thoughts, and feelings we are aware of. The shadow refers to our darker tendencies, which Jung describes as that hidden, repressed, for the most part, inferior and guilt-laden personality whose ultimate ramifications reach back into the realm of our animal ancestors. While our shadows are generally blamed as being the source of evil, Jung writes that his shadow does not consist only of morally reprehensible tendencies, but also displays a number of good qualities such as normal instincts, appropriate reactions, realistic insights, creative impulses, ... Sometimes our shadow selves help us discover hidden strengths, and at other times they they heighten our flaws. And perhaps, as is the case of bridezillas, watching other people unleash their worst wedding-induced shadows allow typically mild-mannered me to live vicariously through them. I think this is similar to when I refer to my lizard brain. because for me that's more like when I'm referring to like my instinct and stuff like that, and some of those more feral tendencies. Like sometimes, yeah, I have that anger still that I kind of developed as a kid who went through the childhood that I did. Um, I mean, I'm much better, much more well adjusted than I was, especially like in my teens. I had a lot to work through, a lot. Um, there was a time I was rather angry, and one of those, well, what are you angry at? What do you got? Sorts. Um, it, and I don't know. Maybe it is good that I still kind of let it growl here and there, and it's controlled, and it's also constructive because it's not like when I'm criticizing people like Amber, like Anna, like Chantal, like other LoLCows, it's not. It's certainly not me being fat phobic because, but it's it's me seeing an issue, having an issue with it, and just venting. And I didn't always do that. Even when I was more angry, it was I was one of those seethers, if that makes sense. Because when people would ask me what's wrong, I used to respond with, I'm fine. Or if people would ask me if I wanted something, that's fine. Or, I didn't want to sometimes pick between things. It was whatever you want to do. I was I was angry, but I was also non-confrontational. I didn't want to bother people. I still have that sort of instinct at times. I'm trying to get better about it. But now I'm a little bit more me focused. Sometimes I don't want to be. I don't like it. But I remember that it's important. So I guess kind of emotional bloodletting my anger out constructively and with purpose is a good thing. Um, they reflect our own selfish natures. I suck at being selfish. Somewhat relatedly, Freud believed humans are all villains at heart. In his 1930 essay, Civilization and Its Discontents, Freud writes, men are not gentle creatures who want to be loved, who at the most can defend themselves if they are attacked. They are, on the contrary, creatures amongst whose instinctual endowments is to be reckoned a powerful share of aggressiveness. He continues with what seems to follow the rough outline of every Bridezilla's episode. This girl is a little too hooked on Bridezillas. I'm just saying. As a result, their neighbor is for them not only a potential helper or sexual object, but also someone who tempts them to satisfy their aggressiveness on him, to exploit his capacity for work without compensation, to use him sexually without his consent, to seize his possessions, to humiliate him, to cause him pain, to torture and kill him. I did not really think about that towards their neighbors. that they're gonna do those things to you. Dudes, if that's really how you're thinking about your neighbors, get help, okay? And I don't tend to think bad thoughts about people. I mean, yes, sometimes I call it realistic about people. Like, I practice the idea of stranger danger, and so sometimes making friends is. I'm friendly to everyone, but whether or not you're a friend is actually something that takes time, much like my relationships. But note that once I start calling you a friend, I intend on it to be a forever thing, so long as you're not going to do something that's going to royally mess it up. Because it's sort of like it goes along with the whole idea of respect. Or trust. Trust is better. Trust is the hardest thing to gain and the easiest thing to lose. If these evil tendencies are lurking in the depths of our minds, as Freud claims, is it any wonder that we revel in delight at seeing others engage in this behavior? Yeah, that's not how I view it. Like, especially when I'm watching like 600 Pound Life and stuff like that. I'm not feeling good about watching these people fuck up their diets. I'm not feeling good when I'm watching Amber just be a horrible hut. Yeah, that's not why I watch train wrecks. So it might be why other people watch them, but it's not why I watch them. They exude a sense of disgust. As it turns out, disgust supercharges our fascination with villains too, according to evolutionary research. In the early days of civilization, communities expelled those who didn't conform to social rules and norms, aka the villains. Keeping the bad guys around would put everyone in danger, thus eliciting emotional responses like fear, disgust, and anger, explains Zeynep Yensi for Maxim. It's that emotional reaction that makes encountering a source of evil so titillating, even if we rationally understand that villains are undesirable. I guess this is like the whole, oh, he's wounded, I can fix him. Like, I think that's what they're trying to say. But no. If I'm okay, when things scare me, yeah, I love them forever. But that's like in like regards to like horror movies or anything that can like startle me. Like if a person is basically making it so I want to hit them, I don't want to be around them. I mean, I do, but I don't. So I guess I kind of get it now, but it's probably better that I'm not around. There you have it. 3 perfectly logical reasons to explain my terrible vice of watching the most terrible shows on television. Or maybe this is just my feeble attempt to excuse and further reinforce my Bridezilla's addiction so I can continue watching guilt-free. But at 12 seasons, I can't be the only one, right? I've never watched an episode, personally. So I have no urge to. Not even remotely curious. So that's. But, oh, I forgot to send this to my phone. Send to devices. Phone. That way it's easier to copy paste into the description. So I'm getting a little bit better at doing this, so that's a good thing. But I don't know, maybe hopefully this will make you feel a tiny bit better about the fact that you watch this stuff, or maybe you could use this to help someone understand why you watch this stuff. I mean, some people will watch it for these reasons, or you could be watching it for the similar reasons as myself. There are different reasons, apparently, because that article did not go the way I thought it was gonna go. Apparently, I am really neurodivergent. But I am starting to feel hungry. I think I want to do the breakfast burger thing with some fruit and yogurt. Because yeah, I definitely want something like meaty. Or maybe I should do some more kimchi ramen because I want to make sure that cabbage and stuff is used up. I think that's what I'm going to do instead. And that's much easier to kind of put together. Alright, guys. So, thanks for listening to me for a little over half an hour. Questions, comments, concerns, please put them down below. Please hit that subscribe button if, you like the nerd outs, and you'll get more of them, especially if you turn on your notifications. Thumbs up, thumbs down, you be the judge. There will be other links in the description, including for the Discord. Again, if you try joining the Discord, Nerfy's Discord. Why am I lisping on Discord right now? That was weird. If you would like to join us in Nerfy's Discord and the link does not work, please let me know so I can update the link, and then you can join the next time I post, which will most likely be Monday. There will also be a link for Casey's GoFundMe for his top surgery. That is running until the end of October. Please, if you can, donate. There's also going to be a link tree with some of my stuff in it, including ways to, throw me a couple bones if you're so inclined. Or there's some wish lists for stuff, like gym stuff and whatnot. Anything and everything is appreciated, but not required. I'm gonna go eat. I love you guys. Go fuck yourselves. And we'll talk again soon. Bye. Nope, that did not stop things. So, bye.